It was a dark and stormy night. I can't move, breathe, hear, or see, and it's always so dark in here. If I knew it was going to be this lonely, I would have been cremated. This is what I get for letting Mark pick the outfit. Ugh. I have to switch hats, I think. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve. Mark's at work, and this is Smokey Steve and Marc. Either welcome or welcome back. So, continuing with our spooky stories, that was a 2-second horror story, or 2-sentence horror story that I had found. Now my other hat. Like Mr. Rogers, I have to go from one cardigan to the next. So we wanted to keep up with that going up to Halloween. So that was my effort at a spooky voice. So today I was catching up on, God, she's been coming up a lot this week. But I do my homework for Coffee Talk, and I watch Foodie Beauty, her videos and stuff. And I do make it a habit of checking the community tabs that come up. So there's been some back and forth, well, not much back and forth, just forth, about fat acceptance and people of this size criticizing people of that size, and do you have room to talk, and who are you to say this just because you're thin, just because you're fat, just because you're losing weight, just because you're the same size, so there's a lot of that going back and forth. So I was thinking about fat acceptance just in general, and first of all, I'm going to qualify this. I'm a guy. We don't get the same amount of crap for being fat that women get. So, I mean, that's my anecdotal experience. Maybe there's statistics, so disqualify that if you want to. That it would be reasonable. But it seems like women, and I'm gay, so I'm biased, but gay men in the community that I ran with we were extremely hard on each other as far as weight. Looks in general, class, but weight too. But something came to mind. A common critique of their haters from some of the plus size folks that are more combative, ALR to protect her anonymity, and Foodie B, is that people who are coming for them for any reason, pretty much at all, whether it's about alleged dishonesty, if it was about programming. They said they were going to post something and they didn't. They said the content was going to be different than it was. They changed the direction of the channel, anything like that. Everything gets put under this umbrella of, you're saying this because I'm fat. If I wasn't a fat person, you wouldn't be saying this. And it's been reiterated by every reaction channel that I've seen, that they try to point to the fact that these people are not coming for you because of your size. They're coming at you because of your personality, the choices you make, the promises you break, not just inconsequential ones, but ones that you promise to your viewers and subscribers. I will deliver this content. I will go through this journey and document it. And then there's these stops all over the place. And to err is human. I'm not perfect. Mark and I film like a video a day. We're going to miss a day at some point. It's going to happen. So I get that, stuff comes up. But wrapping every criticism underneath something that is, I think by them, perceived to be something safe. Anyone would understand that you shouldn't pick on someone because of their size. So let me take everything negative that's being thrown my way and put it behind that wall. And that way I can pretend like, well, that's all they're criticizing me about. I had a little flashback, because as some of you know, this started as a weight loss channel. And my high weight starting this channel was 272, but my highest weight ever that I can recall was in the 290s. It was closing up to 300. And that was actually when I met Mark. Mark and I met, if we want to check some other videos, in a drug and alcohol treatment center. We were in rehab when we met. We didn't start dating for 4 years later, I think. But that's when we had met originally. And I was around that weight because in rehab they feed you like hogs. And I was inclined to eat because I couldn't drink because I was in rehab. So, you know, substituting one drug for another, I just started to chow down and got really big. So I remember thinking, you know, I was just thinking out loud. I met Mark when I was like at my heaviest, like my heaviest adult weight. And I remember thinking back, and I was like 25 or so, I think. No. How old am I now? 37? No, I would have been like 30, I guess. Coming up on 30? I forget. But 10 years ago. It would have been 10 years ago I was 27. There we go, 27. That took too long. At any rate, I was heavy then. And I was thinking back to my earlier 20s when I was 100 pounds less than that weight and felt fat. And I would go out and I would talk about how catty all the boys were and how it was such a shallow culture and how I was picky. That's why I was lonely. And how it was just because I was a bigger guy that all the twinks wouldn't want to come near me. Now, let me tell you what else was going on in my early 20s, aside from the fact that I had maybe 10 pounds of extra weight on me. I had a friend who used to call it straight weight. Like, I was a good straight weight, but gay weight is like 90% of your actual ideal body weight. Incidentally, diagnostically, I think if you go below 90% of your ideal body weight, that's anorexic weight range, 85, 90%. Anyway. So I was convinced to a T that I was being ostracized because of my weight. Well, I was also drunk all day. All day long. All day long. I was a terrible date because I would make dates with guys, show up with absolutely no money. I'm sure they thought we were going Dutch, probably because the date, or that I was paying because the date was my idea. I just wanted a free meal, and I was taking advantage of them. So I didn't build a great reputation. I was a bad tipper because I wanted to drink, so I would spend the tip money on more stuff. You know, and I did other grimy stuff at the same time. So, and I'd been thrown out of bars, like all sorts of other things. So I had a bit of a reputation. Now, given all that other behavior that was unsavory, I didn't want to think about that. I didn't want to deal with that. So it was probably at the time easier for me to say, oh, no, it can't be all that other stuff. It must be this. It must be this other thing over here that I can't control, and that society looks upon badly, and I have to stand up for this and be out and proud about it. You know, no, it had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with my size. I met my now partner when I was closing in on 300, and that's because I was in a place of like kind of starting to get better. I had come out of a rough patch. It was a safe environment. I was not the lightest I'd ever been, but it was the sanest I had been in a while. You know, they dried me out. I was going to like, oh God, in rehab, it's like 6 hours of therapy a day. I mean, you get to know people in 3 weeks better than friends I had known for 5 years. So I was just in a better spot when I met him. So weight didn't have anything to do with it. You know, it was my personality and my other decisions. And even when I was like late teens, I did like scumbag stuff. And I was 160 pounds, you know, so what was the reason then? You know, I'd go, oh, it's a shallow culture. It's such a shallow culture. Ugh. And then I would turn to the person next to me and go, ugh, look at him. So, I don't know. So do any of us have any room to comment on one another as far as weight? I don't know. I thought I was being fat shamed. I can tell you this, from being a person who was almost 300 pounds to now I'm in like the high hundreds, like 180, 190, like in that range. People do treat you differently when you're an average weight or underweight than they do if you're big. I mean, they just do. If you've never been a big person who has then lost weight, I don't think you get to know the difference, though, between people treating you different because you're big and people treating you different because you're a prick. People, you know, there's people in my life that I've encountered who don't like me. You know, not everybody is everybody's cup of tea. And it's probably a mixture of like distant family members, maybe, people that I work with. And it's, you know, no hard feelings, but not everybody clicks. You know, that's okay. Now, if I were to go around and decide these people don't like me because I'm gay, they're homophobes, I am an out and proud man. And it is not my problem if they have a problem with me. I'm just trying to live my life. yeah, I can't just put a big bow on it and say, well, they can't dislike me. I don't have to look at myself. I have to look at them and decide what they're judging. So I'll pick the easiest thing for them to judge. The one that doesn't involve me having to be introspective at all and just decide, well, they don't like me because I'm gay, and I had nothing to do with that. So, oh well, it's their problem. I don't have any problems. They have a problem with me. You know, it's a really slick deflection to do that. And for anyone who is doing that, anyone who I suggested might be, you know, anonymously doing it, the longer it goes on, the more you start to kind of believe your own BS. You know, you really do. I mean, it took a long time. There's still BS of my own that I believe. You know, it's still unpacking. And when you've done it like that for a while, and I did it for well into my 20s, and I'm in my mid to late 30s, and there's still stuff that's unpacked where I think, wow, I didn't realize that that was actually me and not them. Who knew? You know, stuff like that still, little snap, crackle, pops come up every so often where it's like, wow, that whole situation, that had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with me, and more than half of it was my fault. You know, it had to do more with how I reacted than with anything they did. But, you know, a lot of that came with time. I had a lot of opportunities to re-examine broken relationships because I was an addict and you break relationships easily. It happens that way. But yes, I would encourage anybody who thinks they're being, you know, bullied, I guess, or shamed or fat shamed or anything like that, to examine it closely. Examine it closely and listen to the reasons people are giving and see if they are related to weight, shape, size, numbers, stuff like that. I know fat people get nasty things said to them. I've had nasty things said to me by men, by women, all sorts of stuff. I've had people say questionable things to me, like as an adult, like now, you know, even with the body I have now. So you know, people can be cruel. When Amberlynn will point to comments on her random comment thing and say that's cruel, I agree. Some of the stuff she gets is really cruel, but it's mixed in with other stuff, and it all gets lost. You know, it all gets lost. So I can't tell anybody what to do. I would encourage, you know, all of us to be able to take a look at ourselves a little bit, you know, to be a little introspective. You know, what's my part in any conflict or in any back and forth or in any drama that's going on? Drama seeks drama seeks drama seeks drama. Drama likes views too. So, you know, there's that not really good reward for bad behavior, I guess. I don't know. At any rate, there will be no shortage of things to talk about at Coffee Talk this Saturday. So thank you all for watching. I hope I was spooky in the beginning, and I hope I didn't go way off and overboard throughout this video. Please subscribe, give Mark and I a thumbs up, hit the like button. You can follow us on Facebook at SmokeySteveAndMarc or on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc. Our email address and our P.O. Box information is below. Thank y'all for watching, and we will catch up with y'all tomorrow. Bye.